New Zealanders are surrounded by beauty. The scenic splendour in which we live invigorates and nurtures us. Yet some of our most spectacular scenery now lies within the boundaries of our country's biggest urban area. Welcome to the Manukau Harbour. Welcome to Mangere. Auckland presented a great challenge for our forefathers. As New Zealand's largest metropolitan area, it had grown quickly and spectacularly. Nestled between two superb harbours, the thin strip of land that is home to Aucklanders was stretched to the limit in supplying infrastructure for the steadily increasing population. In the 1950s, as post-war expansion gathered pace, one big problem was waste treatment. With some residents still hearing the clank of the notorious night carts and everyone distressed at the discharge of sewage into the picturesque Waitemata Harbour, the search was on for a sustainable and environmentally responsible alternative. After considerable research and debate, it was agreed that a sewage plant and oxidation ponds at Mangere on the Manukau Harbour was the most responsible solution. Today, 45 years on, Kaumātua Morris Wilson remembers how his people gave over their fishing and bathing waters so that Auckland could have the sewage plant.
Our parents, our grandparents were very humble people, as with those ancestors of ours of the past. And they looked at the benefits for the generations to come. But I think they still had sad feelings because they understood a lot of things were going to change. And they did.
Another person who remembers what the sewage plant meant for the Manukau is Ray Clough. As a boy in the 1940s, he rode his bicycle to the shores of the harbour to feed his fascination for the extensive bird life that resided near Mangere.
About 1939, came here as a young fellow with some of the early forest and bird people. We were doing survey of the whole of the Manukau Harbour, of the plant life and whatever, and I got involved with the bird side of it.
Ray was keenly aware that the environment at Mangere needed careful management when nature was concerned.
It's got an overall, pattern about it that needs to be balanced between human use and bird use.
The new waste treatment plant was opened in 1960. And the oxidation ponds began their task of dealing with the city's waste. The balancing act at Mangere worked well for 30 years, but there was little time for complacency. In the 1990s, with the population quickly approaching the 1 million mark, Aucklanders once again faced the question of what they wanted done with the region's wastewater. The plant from the 1960s was still providing reliable service, but the byproducts of the oxidation ponds were becoming increasingly hard to manage in a way that was acceptable to local residents. And like the citizens of most other advanced cities, Aucklanders had growing expectations of the way in which public institutions would act to enhance the environment in which people lived. Combined with recent advances in treatment technologies, it was clear that there were good reasons to replace the old plant. Wastewater 2000 was an initiative set up by Watercare to find a way to do a better job of treating Auckland's wastewater and to do it with the cooperation of the community.
Now, Wastewater 2000 was the first workshop of its kind under the new Resource Management Act, and what we did was we got all the key stakeholders in the region together to have a really full and frank discussion on what the options were. So that involved the local community, tangata whenua were an important component, the environmental groups. We also had the local authority customers of ours, the trade waste customers, the Auckland Regional Council and the Health Department. So there are a number of people involved in the process.
Consultations with community groups began in April 1993. Only after 5 years of deliberation did work on building the new plant begin in 1998. Watercare settled on a plan for a new land-based system that would use the best international technology the company could get for Auckland. The new design would make the oxidation ponds redundant. The Manukau Harbour was about to get a massive facelift. Construction of the revised plant was a unique challenge. The new technology had to be built and commissioned without interrupting the existing installations. It was a task that required careful planning.
to an upgrade of this plant, you're trying to operate an existing plant, continue to meet standards and not affect the environment, and then shut down pieces of equipment, start up new pieces of equipment, and that is a very challenging part of the role, is to do that without affecting the environment. But it has gone very well and been very successful now.
$450 million was invested in the Mangere wastewater treatment plant upgrade. As old technology gave way to new, the vision of a world-class treatment system began to be realised. The installation of one of the world's largest ultraviolet galleries is just one example of how Watercare has sourced the best people and technical resources to build a leading-edge facility. Fletcher Construction, CH2M Becker, Lend-Lease and Australian Water Services formed a joint venture company, Manukau Wastewater Services Limited. This partnership has delivered the construction and engineering for the project. As Watercare Chief Executive Mark Ford explains, Mangere is still the best solution for Auckland's wastewater treatment.
Watercare has been very, very lucky. We have a first-class contractor, good design staff. We have one of the best plants, leading-edge plants in the world. It'll serve the community of Auckland for many, many decades.
Mark's confidence in Watercare's new facility is based on hard statistical evidence. Fecal coliform discharges have been reduced by more than 99%. Other pollutants such as ammonia and nitrogen have also been massively reduced. The virus count in water discharged from the plant has been cut 10,000-fold. It's a remarkable achievement and allows bathing quality water to be reintegrated into the harbour.
We're now standing on the shoreline discharge structure. This is the final point before the clear effluent from the plant, after it's been finally treated, goes out into the harbour. So here it's stored in the basin for about 12 hours, and then it's pumped on the outgoing tide at 25 meters cubed per second. So the effluent quality here is up to world-class standards.
In terms of the original Wastewater 2000 objectives, the project has been a total success. In terms of harbour water quality, the harbour is now safe for both fishing and shellfishing, and odour and midge complaints are virtually a thing of the past.
But Watercare Services has gone far beyond just putting in a new wastewater treatment plant. At the same time, the company has undertaken the largest coastal foreshore restoration in New Zealand, as it has cleaned up behind the old plant. The oxidation ponds had covered an area equivalent in size to 714 football fields. This vast area was drained, dismantled and dredged. The 43-year-old structures yielded around 3.5 million cubic metres of sludge, enough to fill about 1,700 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The material was buried in a purpose-built landfill. Often referred to as the miracle at Mangere, Watercare Services has invested over $150 million in the coastal restoration. 13 kilometres of coastline have been restored and 7 new beaches have been built. 300,000 new native plants will help nature reclaim the Mangere foreshore. And new purpose-built bird roosts have allowed thousands of international migratory birds to return to Mangere.
On our surveys that we've done, we expect the harbour to become an increasing number of birds, yes. And these islands here are the most important part of the Manukau harbour for birds, yeah, for roosting. And we have got a moral obligation to look after our bird life, haven't we? Without them, we'd be pretty poor.
Watercare also responded to the local Māori people, who had paid a high price so that Auckland could have the first plant in 1960. Kaumātua Morris Wilson had seen much of the Manukau foreshore given over to the oxidation ponds, and with that had gone access to shellfish gathering and fishing grounds. Giving the harbour back to the people as the walls around the oxidation ponds came down was an emotional time for all those who were there.
We walked towards where the breaching was going to take place, and when that happened, yes, you know, there was a feeling within a person, nearly a tearful sort of thing, but tears and joy, because we knew that then things were going to happen and things were going to return to how it was left by our parents, our grandparents with us, and how it all changed and how it's going to change again to have it back to the quality of things that we had at that time.
Today, local Māori are looking forward to getting back access to their fishing grounds, looking forward to being able to launch their waka again on the waters of the Manukau. Soon all Aucklanders will be able to enjoy the restored foreshore, and at the same time, the region will be getting a world-class wastewater plant.
Being able to come down here and along the shores just further down from here, our people could come here and set their nets and catch some of those fish that we used to catch back in those days with their nets. And that's the excitement. And when that part was all finished and water care said that our people could go down there and spend time down there, there was just a lot of excitement. And for me, it's one of those things that I look back in the times when we used to talk about how it was, and it was hard for our children, our grandchildren, to believe what we were saying were true. But now, with things that are happening now, I think they'll realise that a lot of the things that we talked of were true.
The miracle at Māngere has gifted the Manukau back to the people.